Believe it or not, there was a time where Instagram was all about photography and it wasn't about brain rot, reels, and memes. I know, I miss those days too. Hello everybody, so today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So what I'm going to be doing is, I'm going to be going through my photos from when I first started back in 2017 all the way till today. So I'm going to be going through how my understanding of photography kind of evolved throughout the years, the way I color grade, my composition, the psychology behind my color grading, and all that stuff. So yeah, let's do this. For this first photo, I'm not really sure what this is about. I can't remember where this was, or I can't remember the name of the place, but I know where this is. Not really sure what the point of this photo is. All I knew was I just wanted to shoot photography because I was trying to understand what my camera does. Like what is shutter speed, what is aperture, what is ISO. So I was just kind of firing random shots. Yeah, same thing for this one. You know, it looks like an iPhone shot. Everything is just vibrant. Lighting is terrible. Yeah, no subject. Even the subject, even if the subject was the chair or the bench, it's still, you know, it's still quite useless. It's still too far to the right. So even just the composition itself is absolutely terrible. And this is Asimo. I used to own a Honda Civic Si, but this was my keychain. He was hanging on my rearview mirror. Not really sure why I took a photo of him, but if you guys notice, the photo still looks like it's shot from an iPhone, aside from the blur, the bokeh. Color grading, you know, it's just cold, boring, bland, not much going on. This one, same thing. I was still learning photography. I was still trying to understand, you know, the whole thing about my D7100. Not sure what this is about. Yeah, but I think what I did here was I just changed the white balance, made it a little bit cooler, and then changed the luminance of the green, and that's about it. Nothing special here. This was me in downtown Science World in Vancouver. You know, again, just trying to learn how photography is and just trying to understand everything. If you guys could see, Asimo was still in my backpack, just hanging out. So here I still had no idea what I was doing. I was just, you know, just learning everything. These were some of my first shots of automotive photography. Same thing, not much going on here. I think this is when I was kind of learning how composition work, the rule of thirds and all that stuff. But if you guys notice, it's still kind of flat, not dramatic or anything. Colors are still too vibrant, you know, it has no mood. Probably the only thing that made this photo look good, in my opinion, is my friend's car. The way his car was stanced, it just looked really good. These were some of the first group photos I did with my buddies in the car group. Same thing, not much going on here. Terrible lighting, boring photo. Yeah, I didn't do much here. All I did was, I don't know, probably just lift the blacks and crush them a little bit, make them look gray, but not much. And this is a photo of my old Subaru STI from Japan and my nephew. So for this one, I liked the shot, but I didn't understand why I liked the shot. It turns out it was the lighting. Back then, I didn't understand lighting. I had no idea how lighting works. I had no idea how lighting behaves. All I knew was when I fired the shot, I'm like, hey, this looks cool. Don't know why. I'm gonna post it. Same thing for this one. I was still looking at this photo when I was learning photography. I was just like, photo looks cool. Not sure why. Turns out it was the lighting. It was the backlighting. This is one of those shots where it kind of trips me out a little bit, because when I was looking at it with just my bare eyeballs, it looked like a really good photo, but when I fired the shot, it's kind of like, what is this? You know, kind of boring. Yeah, same thing for here. When I was looking at it with my eyeballs, it's kind of like, this looks like a good shot. And when I fired the camera, not much. It's boring. I mean, this one doesn't look too bad. It was because of the lights. It's not because of my shot. I think if you guys look closely, if you guys look closely, I think I cranked my aperture very, very high here. I think it's like f16. That's why the sharpness of it is kind of weird. Because I cranked my aperture, I had to crank my ISO as well. And also my shutter. Now if you look at the people over here in the middle, they're kind of blurred because my shutter was slow. If you zoom in, you can tell that just the photo looks so noisy. It's because the ISO is just way too high. This was still in Whistler. I think this was shot on the same day. I remember the shot here was just too many colors. I didn't know what to do. I didn't understand color theory or anything like that, so I just put it black and white. Black and white, I'm not the biggest fan of black and white. I feel like black and white is, I guess in this one it kind of worked out. But black and white, I feel like you need to use it as certain special photo for it to work. Because black and white is one of those things where it's such an easy escape if you have no idea what you're doing, or you're just too lazy to color grade, or you don't know how to color grade. So you just click black and white and call it done. And I think this is what I did here. Terrible color grading on this one. Terrible composition. Just absolutely terrible photo. Can't believe I posted this. I thought it looked good. This is... I can't remember what year this was, but there was a snowstorm. And I thought it'd be cool to go out with my camera and just take shots. What I didn't realize is that when you're shooting in the snow, everything is just blown out. You know, it's not like shooting in the cloudy days. When shooting in the cloudy days or whatever, the light is a little more diffused. When you're shooting in the snow, everything is just blown out to hell. Everything is just flat. And when I finally got home to try and edit this, I'm like, what the frick? I don't know what to do with these photos. I don't know why I made the greens so green. This is my buddy Nathan. This is when he had a Subaru. He wanted to do a photo shoot around the city. Again, this is one of those photos where I thought it looked cool with my eyeballs, but when you actually shoot it and look at it in the photo, it's kind of like, what's the aim here? What is the point of this photo? I didn't know how to color grade. I didn't know how to mask. I didn't know how to use layering. So if you notice, the photo is just boring. Headlight or the taillights are dead. The photo is just flat. This one was when I was in, I believe, Florida. I don't know why this thing looks like this. I can't tell you. All I did was bring down the saturation and left the purples. Again, I don't know. I probably could have done a better job with this, but this is absolutely terrible. Yeah, this is my friend Melanie. I was practicing my portrait shoots here that time. Now, keep in mind, this photo might look like it's exposed properly, but it wasn't. I had to make a lot of changes. I don't know, I had to lift the shadows, I just had to do so much work on this. The same thing for this one. If you guys look closely, it's very blurred. This is shot with a tripod. It was dark. It's absolutely terrible photo. I mean, she looks good though. My friend looks good as usual, but you know, the shot itself is absolutely terrible. This right here, this might trip you guys out. This was actually almost pitch black. The city lights are there, but where the car was parked, it was like dark. This is not how that area looked like. This thing was basically pitch black. Same thing for this one. I shot these two cars at the same night. Again, it was pitch black. That's why if you look at the background looks absolutely blown out and just ugly. This photo I was super proud of. Turns out it was just the background blur and just the lighting of my gauge. That's about it. This is when I was in the Philippines. Just thought I was gonna do something a little bit creative. I changed the hue of the sky. Again, I was shooting directly at the sun, but the lighting was the way it is. I didn't understand why the photo looked good. I didn't understand that it was the lighting, it was the positioning of the sun, and I just went with it, and I turned everything purple. I thought it looked cool. Same shot, but completely different color grading in this one. This one's still in the Philippines. I kind of like this shot. I think what made this shot actually look good, it's because of just the natural contrast of the colors, how they, how the colors all match up together. This is when I was starting to experiment with color grading on cars. At this point, I still didn't understand how color grading works. All I knew was just like, hey, I'm gonna make this really, really cold on the white balance, and maybe it would look cool. Yeah, and I didn't know what I was doing. This is my Subaru STI. I blew the engine on this thing. Had to part it out, sell it. You know, I do miss this car a lot. This is when I was learning composition on cars. I still didn't fully understand how it works, but you know, I was trying to learn. Well, whatever. I wanted to go for that urban look of the shot. That's why I parked it by the stairs. This one is an awkward perspective. I think it worked out. It wasn't too bad. I was kind of proud of this. Yes, that is a white trunk on my car. My car didn't come with this trunk. It came with a black trunk, but I wanted the wing. But when I bought the wing, the guy was just like, when you buy the wing, it comes with a trunk. I'm not going to charge you for the trunk. So I'm like, all right, cool. Put it on. And then I was just like, oh, I need to get this thing wrapped, or I need to get it painted. And then my buddies started calling my car diaper butt. And I just stuck with that. And I left that white trunk there basically the entirety of my ownership of this car. Yeah, I do miss this car. It was fun. It was a fun drive. This is Joffrey Lake in Vancouver. Or where is this? Pemberton? This is when I was learning nature photography. I didn't know how to color grade it. I didn't know how to edit it. All I knew was this looks cool. I'm gonna fire a shot. And then when I came to the editing table, I had no idea how to edit it. That's why the whole thing is just very vibrant. Yeah, same thing for this. I was just learning the color grading, and I cranked the living hell out of the the aperture here. Everything is in focus. I think I went all the way up to like f16 or something like that. This was a car show in Seattle. This is my first time seeing an R34 GTR in person. So again, same thing, not much going on, just very blue, very cool. Boring shot. This right here is probably one of the coolest Civic builds I've ever seen. It's a V6 Honda Civic. I think that engine came from like a Honda Odyssey or something, and it's supercharged. Until now, this car still exists. I just don't know where it is. This shot, I liked it. I was kind of proud of this. Don't know why. I think it just looks cool with how many cars there were. But color grading wise, composition wise, I think the composition wasn't too bad. It's just the color grading. You know, I think I desaturated this quite a lot. I removed some colors on this to give this kind of desaturated look to it, but not much. There's nothing else here. Now this is when I was experimenting with lighting. This is when I was trying to move on to higher levels of photography, and I'm trying to understand the psychology behind lighting. So I was experimenting with these. You know, I was using Pixie lights. I mean, when I shot the shot, I had no idea why it looked the way it is. Again, it's the not understanding how lighting works. But now that I understand it, I'm like, cool, I could redo this again. But back then, I probably can't redo this shot because I didn't know why it looked the way it did. This is my friend Bon. Till now, me and him, we still shoot together. If you guys noticed, it has this anamorphic lens effect. This right here was not from my lens. This was an overlay. Trying to learn how flash photography works. So I had a flash on the left side, flash on the right side here. And then him and he was also learning photography at that time. So, you know, he was my guinea pig and I was just testing things out. The lighting wasn't too bad. I think it kind of gave it a little bit of a dramatic look to it. But yeah, still trying to understand color grading and lighting this time. Now, for lighting, this is one of my friend's car. If you guys look at the photo, it looks odd. Why does it look like this? It's because I was learning this technique called light painting. Light painting means you gotta shoot the car with multiple shots. You're basically using like a light bar. You're using the light bar to paint light on the car. There's a whole thing about it on YouTube. This is when I was learning it. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to position the light. So if you guys look at the bottom, it looked flat. Just the light just looks flat in general. Same thing for this one. This is when I realized that light painting on darker cars, especially black, is super, super tricky. And then this is when I was kind of, I think, understanding light painting a little bit better. But then again, this is my friend's old car. It's silver. I love shooting silver cars because they're neutral. The light deflects nicely. I mean, just the car in general just looks really good. This is one of my cleaner light paints. I can't remember. I think this happened on a couple of months later. I was starting to kind of understand it a little bit better. It's still not perfect, but I was learning it because you can kind of still see them in the hood here and stuff. But yeah, I guess I was improving in a way. And this is when I was starting to kind of understand portrait photography. This is my friend Bon again. We went to that same parking lot in downtown. I shot this shot. I don't know why it looked the way it did. Again, what was throwing me off was the lighting. I didn't understand how the lighting works. I thought it was a pretty cool shot. Especially this one. This is one of my favorite shots of him. See, it's all about the lighting. And then this is my friend Melanie. I can't remember where we were. I think we were in a flower festival or something like that. She brought a film camera just for props. And this is when I was experimenting with different ways to color grade. Desaturated, it has that rustic look to it. Just the trendy edit. And then I was just like, all right, cool. This looks pretty good. And then this is when understanding how colors complement each other and how could give you some really good results. It wasn't until later on that I kind of realized it was the combination of the colors of the grass, clothes, and the lighting. Now, if you guys notice, this shot just looks completely different from how my old automotive photography shots were. This is when I was starting to understand how lighting works, how color grading works. It's still not perfect. My composition was still a little bit off. but I was starting to understand, hey, okay, so if I do this, this is what's gonna happen. So I knew how to redirect light, how to reposition the car, angles. Yeah, I was getting it. And the same thing with my friend Melanie here. Just sitting on the car, pretty good lighting. It was during sunset. It wasn't too bad, but my mistake here was that I shot directly towards the sun. I felt like I should have angled Melanie. I should have angled the car a little bit more too, so it wasn't completely direct in the sun. So I had to edit this. I had to use a bunch of masking to lift the car from being too dark and to bring down the highlights of the sun just a little bit. Okay, now this is when I finally understood light painting. This is one of my buddy's motorcycles. Motorcycles are a lot easier to light paint than actual cars because they're a lot smaller. You can control the light a little bit better. But this is one of my best light paintings yet. Was able to control the behavior of the light here because the bike was in matte color. But yeah, that's my favorite light painted shots ever. Same thing for this one. I can't remember if I light painted the bike here. Probably not. I think I was just using a light at the top left corner up there. This was my Nikon D7100, the one that I started out with. I was taking shots of it because I was selling it. I was using my Sony a7 III on these shots now. If you guys noticed, the editing is a lot cleaner now and the lighting is a lot cleaner now too. This is when I was like, all right, I understand lighting now. Okay, I understand editing now. So, you know, it gave the shots this cleaner look. And these are some of the portrait shots. This is when I already understood lighting. This is my friend Kalina. We were walking around downtown and she was very photogenic. She was very easy to shoot. She knew her angles and everything, so she made my life very, very easy. For this shot, I was doing a dreamy look. So now those leaves were all overlays. The blur, it was shot with a blurry background, but this is added on to Photoshop because I was giving it that dreamy look. And then this is when I finally understood the psychology behind color grading. It's not perfect, you know, some people might not like it because it's too orange, but it was done on purpose. Yeah, so these were all shot in the same day. This is a lot of overlays here. The leaves, the flares, everything. Even the super blurry background, these were all done in post. It still gave it that dreamy look that I was looking for. Yep, same thing for this one. Same technique. I was just trying to learn everything about it. This whole dreamy effect look on photography. One mistake that I did here was that on the overlay of the light leaks or these flares, I did not blur it. That's why if you notice they're too sharp. Circles are too sharp. I should have blurred them a little bit. It's my mistake there, but you know, I was learning. And then there's astrophotography. Astrophotography is definitely one of my favorite style of photographies because I've always been a space nerd. It's just that I haven't shot any astro in a while because I was thinking about investing in a telescope. I'll probably get on that someday, but I love astrophotography. Now, roller shots. This was my very first, no, not my very first, probably my second roller shot. Couple of things that you need to understand here. Now I understand lighting, I understand color grading, I understand shutter speed, and I understand motion. And I was able to combine all of that to produce the shot. But this is one of my proud moments. This is one of my proud shots because I finally was able to get, hey, it's a roller shot during a sunset. It looks pretty cool. So yeah, I was happy with the shot. Same thing for this. These were all shot in the same day. I was experimenting with the color grading. That's why the photos look slightly different. I was just seeing what kind of color would work best. But I was super happy with these shots. Yeah, same thing for this. I think I was hanging out of my van on this thing or somebody's car. I can't remember. We were going around 50, 60 kilometers an hour and I was just practicing it. Couple more roller shots here. This is my friend John. He sold this car now, but this car was a beast. This thing was awesome. Yeah, same thing. I was practicing rolling shots, lighting, color grading all at once. But man, I love this car. This car is absolutely gorgeous. Couple more rolling shots that I did. Yeah, these are some of my favorite rolling shots as well. I remember I was hanging out of an Audi TT and I was like squishing the trunk. But the shots turned out very, very well. The lighting, colors of the car, everything. These are some of my favorite rolling shots. This is when I knew I was improving my photography because I was, I wasn't taking forever anymore to figure out what shot I'm gonna do next. And I kind of knew how the shot would look like and I kind of knew how it would look like on the computer as well. It was just a matter of how am I going to color grade it and everything. So these shots didn't take very long at all, maybe 2 hours, and I was done all of these cars. I think there's 4 of them, or 3. Yeah, composition. I like the composition here. I like the color grade. I like everything about it. Now, this is the style of photography where I was shifting over into storytelling. If you look at my photos now are all about, you know, they focus a lot on storytelling. It has that cinematic look. Gosh, that word is so overused. It has that cinematic movie look to it now. This is when I was slowly shifting into how can I tell a story on my photos without saying a word or without putting captions. So for this shot, I did put a caption in the top left. But yeah, this is when I was starting to like, how can I tell a story on these photos? And never too good to stop learning. Until this day, this is the quote that I live by. In my opinion, you're never really too good to stop learning. So every day, every time I shoot, every time I edit, I'm always trying to improve. For this shot, I just thought, you know what? I think this was at like 12 a.m. or something, and I was bored while I was editing. So I just organized all my stuff on the desk. The lighting was nice, and I just fired a shot. Yeah, so now these were some of the shifts, into storytelling. This is my friend Aaliyah. You're gonna see her a lot on these photos because I shot Aaliyah a lot. Yeah, this is when I was shifting over to storytelling, to making my shots look like they're movie clips. And that's her right there. She's super photogenic. This was her apartment, I believe. And then we were just kind of experimenting with the lights and see what we could come up with. That's her cat. That's Yuri. That's how we became friends, is because of this cat. This is when things were all coming together. This one was, I think I was practicing with my Octobox with the flash. Yeah, for this one was probably one of my favorite shots of hers because everything worked out. The light on her living room, her couch, skin tone, and everything lined up. So these were the easy edits. This is an example of getting the shot right, and then when you finally edit it, it's so easy because the shot from the get-go was done properly already. You guys, my friend Tyler, he's the guy who details my Tesla. Again, this is one of those easy edits because everything just worked out. We were at Jones Lake, so same thing. It is very storytelling. This is how I shoot my photos now. So they do look like movie clips, you know? Now, these shots, these were not fabricated. The reason why the shot looks like this is because it was foggy at that time when I shot these photos. And it created this vibe, this mystery, it's calming, yet it has that horror look to it. More like the Jason Voorhees look to it. Probably one of my most favorite shots ever. Same thing, this is on the dock. Yeah, everything just looks so calm. I just kind of wish I photoshopped the cars off to give it more of that mysterious look. But these ducks were here. They were not photoshopped in. They were actually there. Now, portrait shots. Was not expecting to do portrait shots at all when I first started photography. This is probably one of my favorite portrait shots. If you look at it, this is actually from one of my friend's backyard. There's a bunch of dandelions, and then everything just worked out. The lighting. She's actually sitting on the floor here. It kind of looks like the grass is really tall, but she was sitting in the ground from what I remember. Yeah, this is probably my favorite portrait shot. Because it's just so, I don't know, it looks so airy. It's at the same time very happy, very light. I don't know, I really like the shot. Now, this is not the same person. They are not the same person. They're twins. Alright, this is her sister Summer. She doesn't like this photo, but I really love this photo of her. It matches well with the sunset. I don't know, her posture, everything. I really like this photo. Sorry, Summer. I just had to put this up. And same thing. This is Summer during the beach. I think this is Spanish Banks. Yeah, we were kind of experimenting here. She wasn't even ready for these shots. I was just firing shots, and they kind of worked out, so I kept them. This is my friend Eden. I love shooting her. She was super easy to shoot. The way she just models is like snap, snap, snap. Every angle, every movement she does is just like bam, right there. Alright, that looks good. You know, that looks good. Every time she moves, it just looks good. She makes it look so easy. Now for these edits, I'm trying to make them look filmic. So I added grain on it. I made it a little bit desaturated, shifted the colors a little bit to make it look like film. This one, she was sitting in my Tesla, trying to give it that movie look. These were all shot in the same day, actually. Shot in the same day, but completely different edits. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, no matter what you do with Eden, she just looks good on photos. This is from the previous photo as well, where I was practicing my filmic look, but this one I made it look like a movie. If you guys see these kind of photos on my Instagram, it's because this is probably my full-time style of photography now. Yeah, I love shooting Eden. Super easy. I love the vibe here. The way I added the vignette, the lighting, the color grading. Oh, so good. I love it. Couple more here. Giving it that filmic look, filmic vibe, but they were all shot with a Sony a7 IV. Same thing with Aaliyah, giving it that cinematic look, that movie vibe to it. That is my dog right there. This is Nero. He's all grown up now. He doesn't look like that anymore, but I think this is before he got his first haircut. Super fluffy. He looked bigger, but he was tiny. He just looked really big because of his fur. Now, these are some of my favorite shots, couple shots actually. Everything here worked out. These were some of my favorite couple shots. Again, it's storytelling. Because she was leaving to go back home when I shot these, so the emotions that you guys are seeing in these photos, they were real. It's because she was leaving. So yeah, these photos, no words, but you can kind of see the story. Now, lastly, she was my student before for driving. This is Rosalind. We were shooting at her apartment, and we were kind of stumped at first because we didn't know how to do the shoots. And then that's when it came out with the idea, you know what? I'm gonna reposition the light in a certain way to give it a bit of a vibe. And it worked out. So she was using my shirt here. The shirt kind of works well too because it's, I think the color of this is like grayish green or something, and it matches well with the stool and just the vibe. And the thing with Rosalind is that she's also very easy to shoot. She makes shooting very easy, so everything worked out. Even the shot, these are some of my favorite shots as well. I made the edit look very faded to have that rustic look, that filmic look as well. It worked out with the lighting, it worked out with her poses. Couple more here. Alright, and that's it from me, guys. And I thought I would just kind of upload some of my work from 2017. Just so you guys can see how my work evolved throughout the years, and for me as well, for my own benefit, and how, because sometimes I do feel like, man, I'm stagnant, or I feel like my work is not good enough. I appreciate you guys just hanging out with me, going through all these photos. If you guys like this video, or if you guys want to see videos of me maybe editing some photos just so you can kind of see how my workflow is, let me know down in the comments. If you guys like this video, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys later.